Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2024 Honda Passport TrailSport. Now, all you really need to travel and have an adventure is your passport, and I think Honda nailed it with this one. Let's get started. We get started in the front and we can see this thing looks mean. It's got a cool kind of boxy but still kind of curvy design to it. I love the look of this front. First of all, the red. Yes, the red. Now I like that like slate color that Honda has, and I like the like even brighter like blue that they have. But this red is kind of like it's a little, got a little bit of wine in it color, but it's not a super bright red, but it's not a super dull red. It's just right. Just like this Passport is. It's just right. And yeah, the red is nice. We take a look at the headlights and there's a lot of cool elements kind of going on. We do have the daytime running light, which is kind of that boomerang LED right in there. We also have LED headlights themselves. But yeah, it looks really good. I like this eyebrow. I like this black piece that kind of looks like an eyebrow. We have a really big grille, which I like. It's got that kind of gunmetal gray color to it, which is nice. Big Honda badge, nice. Except we are missing the front-facing camera. So it's kind of a shame that we are missing the front-facing camera, and in turn we don't have a 360-degree camera system. We do have Honda's 3-view rear camera, which I don't want that. I mean, it's great, it works, yeah, for rear it's great, but I've been spoiled from the Pilot that had that all-terrain, or I forget, it's like off-roading camera system that they call, that was really great in the Pilot TrailSport. So let's have this adopted. Yes, please, Honda, or if you refresh it, let's add it to it. But we have that. And then we have again, a little bit of the front bumper here is going to be plastic, got that textured feel to it. And we have fog lights. They're really tiny, they're really low. They really didn't need to be used because these guys were pretty good at lighting up the road. But I would definitely, you know, if we're gonna do a build, an overlanding rig, yeah, maybe some lights up here, which I wish we had some mounts on here just kind of built in. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, that would be nice to have Honda start giving the aftermarket some options to adopt some or attach some lights in different areas. But overall though, I love the front end. We have a good amount of clearance here in the front, maybe a little bit more in a couple of places that I needed to drive. But other than that though, I do love this front end. Let's go ahead and see what we have under this hood. We get under the hood and we have the 3.5 liter VTEC V6 engine, and it is cranking out 280 horsepower, and it is connected to the 9-speed automatic and then to the IVTM all-wheel drive system. Now, it's kind of nice to have a naturally aspirated vehicle because the throttle response, it's pretty instantly. Now, the only thing though is that the MPGs do suffer a bit. So when I was driving it prior to taking it out on the highway, I was doing about 17 miles to the gallon. And that was babying it, and that was me putting it in econ mode or economy mode. So yeah, that's kind of the only thing that's a little, but then once I got to the highway driving that I did with the Passport, I went back up to about 20-21. So it's a good amount that I can get on the highway, probably about 23-24 if you baby it enough and you drive it sensibly, which is kind of difficult when this thing is so peppy. Yeah. And then we get to the 9-speed automatic. Wasn't bad. Downshifts aren't going to be the fastest, so don't expect that. But it's good. It's good ratios. No issues with going from one to the next. No big drop in power, you know, any abnormal ratios. Nothing there. And that's when we get to the IVTM4 all-wheel drive system. And I cannot stop talking about how incredibly excellent this system is to get the power down. It's such an active system, and I mentioned this in the Ridgeline. It's such an active system of when you're turning, it's taking the power to the outside wheels and removing it from the inside wheel, which is gonna help with rotation. And I saw that when we were pushing it a little bit on some unpaved roads, and literally I was making a right turn, right rear was at 0, because you have the all-wheel drive torque little guide in the dashboard on the gauge cluster. And yeah, the rear right was completely at 0, rear left was completely at power delivery, and the front right was at about 3/4 of the power, and the front left was at complete power. So it was literally doing the rotation with the power distribution. Incredible. You wouldn't get that with other systems. It would wait till its senses slip and then start reacting. So here you are losing traction, and then it says, oh, but sometimes it's a little too late for that. So the fact that Honda set up the system that you're turning and it already knows, okay, this is what I should be expecting to do, is brilliant. But it's so common sense, but then again, it's the least common of the senses. But yeah, it's so good. Let's go ahead and take a look at those wheels and tires that really help put that power down as well. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have this nice 18-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the 245/60 General Grabber AT Sport tire. Now, a couple of things with this. The wheel design, I love it. It's a nice, big, chunky 5-spoke design that's split. And we also have the nice kind of, again, like kind of gunmetal gray finish to it. A lot of sparkle to it in the paint. Love it. Again, it just looks really strong presence with that meaty design. And speaking about meaty, these tires, yeah. The fact that we have these from factory is really nice. Usually you don't get that much of an aggressive tire unless you're going for a extreme off-roader, but it's impressive tire on this. So a couple of things. Road noise, almost non-existent. Road feedback when you want it. When you need it, really, when you need it, which is great. It does dampen the road a little bit, which is nice to have. But again, you get the feel of what the tire is doing to the steering wheel, which is nice. Yeah, it's super aggressive, whether you're on the road, whether you're on unpaved roads, whether you're on bad roads, and apparently whether you're on snow, because a lot of people, when I posted that I had this on for the week in a Facebook group, a bunch of you guys said, oh, I love my Passport in the snow. It's great in the snow. It's awesome. So glad to see that, you know, that this setup is really good. The brakes have been really great. It's just a matter of, you know, just activating a little bit at first, just to kind of let it know, hey, I'm about to start braking. When you're really being more aggressive, for everyday driving, it's perfectly fine. It'll kick in. But for a little bit of aggressive driving, you hit it a little bit and then just kind of start initiating your brake with the pedal. And it's been really good. Even in really loose gravel, ABS hasn't needed to kick in. It's just stopping the vehicle. So it's a great, and it's not that we're not having enough braking power, because we do, but it doesn't feel like a big SUV other than a little bit of a nosedive that you get. And that's because the suspension feels a little bit softer in this than it did in the Pilot or even in the Ridgeline TrailSport. So not a bad thing though, because it really dampens the road. Like I said, it's gonna help out with articulation. Out of the box, out of the dealership, this setup has been incredible. And I haven't even started talking about the iVTM all-wheel drive system. And that's even better. Just getting the power to the wheels has just been unbelievable. Yeah, I'm sold. I want this system everywhere, on all across Honda's lineup, including the Civic Type R. This would be awesome if we can get an all-wheel drive system as well as this is in a more track-oriented vehicle. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We get to the side and we can see this is a nice looking SUV. I love the size of it. I love the shape to it. It really has a kind of bulldog look to it. So a couple of things. We get started in the front and we can see, again, like I mentioned, we kind of have some boxed off kind of shapes, but still with some roundness to it, which is really nice. It's a mixture of both. So that's why I'm talking about the straight hood, and then we kind of have the bulbous kind of front side of the bumper. We do have this fender that does have, again, that kind of straight but still kind of curve in here. We have the fender over plastic little piece there, which is a nice touch. Helps when you start kicking up some rocks, which I kind of did. But we take a look at the wheels as well with the kind of height, and it looks good. From factory, looks great. Like I said, I want 1 inch more to just give it that little bit more peace of mind in case I really go, yeah, a little bit more aggressive on the off-roading side of things. But overall, though, the stance is really nice to it. One thing I do like is this line that we have here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it in the camera, but it just kind of follows through, and it's kind of very straight, but then it just kind of softens off in the end, which is really nice. I love the design that we have there. Underneath here, we do have a little bit more plastic to help out, making sure that you don't scratch up the paint. And we have black mirrors, which I really like, black molding around the windows, which I really love. I like the shape to this as well. Having this little window back here is really nice. We do get the roof rails up here, and they are the color of the wheels and of the front grille, which kind of had me wondering, man, I wish they kind of would have followed that. I know I like black framing around windows, but I think that color is so nice. Would have been kind of cool to see how it looked around the windows themselves. But overall, though, I love the proportions to it. We have a good size SUV here. Now, key fob is in my pocket, so I'll go ahead and reach on here, and it goes ahead and opens it up. Have a nice big door to really easily get into the Passport. So I'll go ahead and close here. I do have a little button that I can do that, and it locks. And I'll go ahead and grab the back, and I got nothing, unfortunately. So you don't have the option of unlocking. So it's just a matter of doing that and then opening up, and you're good to go. Again, nice big door with no issues there. And yeah, that's kind of what you get with the Passport on the side. So let's go ahead and head to the back and see what we have there. We take a look at the back and we can see big, boxy, but round. Yes, it is all of that, and I love it. It's really, really nice. We get started at the top with the spoiler, which looks really good. It adds just that little flare at the top, and we have a massive rear glass, which is good for visibility. We do have a wiper because, yes, we got it dirty, which you'll see in my driving part of this. It was such a blast to drive this thing. So stable, so smooth, incredible. But yeah, we got it a little bit dirty, which was fun. Again, we have this rear wiper. What would be incredible, and again, I'm just asking for, it's perfect. I think it's perfect, but if I were to ask for something more, is let's move this wiper up here and let's open up this glass. Have the capability of opening it up would be perfect. But it's still not bad. It's great. We do have the Honda badging here with the mustache that we get here, which looks really good. Black badging, which is my favorite. And that's where that is wrong. We should have black exhaust tips because it just would seal the deal with the design of this. So definitely gonna wanna go with the black exhaust tips on the Passport. Yeah, we have towing capacity, 5,000 pounds towing capacity. Should be enough for my Miata, which is why this is making me want to just go to the dealership right now and buy one. It is incredible. I am loving this thing. So speaking about loving, let's go ahead and get in here and see how much space this thing has. We open the back by pressing this button down here. Yeah, it's kind of loud. And to my surprise, there is a lot of space in here. I was surprised at how much you could really put in here. We put a ton of groceries and yeah, it's surprising how much you have here. Now this is a little bit on the taller side, so as you can see, we don't get much of a back to this because this platform is up, but you do get a little compartment down here. So that is pretty nice feature. Obviously you can put things in here to kind of put out of sight. Not to worry, this does have kind of an option for you know, those covers in the back, so this still can be covered. This one just doesn't have it. But yeah, we come down here. The only thing though, this isn't for like cooler stuff, because we do not have a we don't have a drain plug for this. But when you do undo those kind of latches there, and we can pick this up, we do have the area for the spare down there. So yeah, pretty nice. Oh gosh, I'm gonna you could do it with one hand, which is nice. And yeah, if we just kind of also do this, we also have it access there, so we can take that plastic off. We have more storage there, which is nice. That helps for us to have better ground clearance when it's in here. Only thing though is if you're really packed with stuff, you're gonna need to unpack that stuff to gain access to that. Let me lock there. But yeah, those little cubbies on the side are also nice if you want to put small things in there. And overall though, I was pretty impressed with how much space we have. We get inside and it's pretty nice. It's pretty simple, very straightforward. So let's go ahead and check it out. We take a look at the door and it's pretty simple. Nothing too exciting, but nothing wrong really, except a couple of things. Storage. So storage, this is nice. This would have been nice as a better cup holder, maybe a little bit deeper or a little bit wider really, because there's not much you could really fit in there. And same goes for this storage area here. But for little like knickknacks and that kind of stuff, you're gonna be fine. The finishes are nice and rugged, so they feel like they would be easy to clean. We have your 2 presets, which is nice if you're sharing the vehicle. But overall though, pretty simple, pretty straightforward door. We get to the seats, and because this is the TrailSport, we do get the special seats that have the orange stitching on them, and they look really nice. We have our adjustability right in there. Starting from the top, yes, we do get the TrailSport kind of placed there, which is nice. We do have, like I said, the orange stitching. Piping would have been cool, but it would definitely have taken away from the stitching itself. We do have the heated option, not vented. If you want venting, you're gonna need to go to the black edition, which is kind of what has me thinking maybe that's a better option, and then just TrailSporting a black edition by adding bigger wheels, bigger tires, that kind of situation. But yeah, these seats are super comfortable, no issues with the long road trip, and yeah, they look great. With the TrailSport, you get these special TrailSport rugged floor mats, which are really nice. So definitely will make sure to keep your vehicle clean. We do have the TrailSport in orange, which looks really nice. But yeah, definitely gonna want to get this if you're gonna be getting dirty in the Passport. We get over to the steering wheel and it is nice and big. So a couple of things about this. I love the sportiness to it in the sense of we get the dimpled leather on the side, and we get the soft leather on the top and on the bottom. So it's nice to make sure that you have a firm grip on the wheel itself when you're maybe blasting through some unpaved roads or, you know, some trails. But yeah, really nice feel to it. It has a really nice ergonomic place for you to grab it, so no complaints there. Only thing I would say with this wheel is maybe its design. It does look outdated. Obviously this has kind of feels like it's at the end of its cycle or generation, but we do have kind of aging looking buttons on the side here, which control your infotainment system as well as your gauge cluster. But pretty straightforward. One thing, I don't know why we have the volume option here as opposed to just making it up and down here, because now I'm having to really kind of stretch out for that instead of just being here and going next track and then volume up because you like the song, or yeah. So that this over here doesn't make too much sense. But overall though, we have that, and then we have the cruise control options here, which again kind of look dated, but it pretty much gets the job done with that. Over to the left of the steering wheel, we have the economy button. Now, this was kind of weird to me, and I kind of complained about it in the Ridgeline, but I gotta say, this is the right thing to do. Yeah, so I'll take my words back and I'll bite my tongue, so to speak, because it is nice to have the eco button or the economy button readily available and not having to switch too many drive modes to get to it. Yeah, because again, sometimes you just want to turn it on quickly, so it's nice that it's a separate button. So Honda, you're right, I'm wrong. Yeah, let's move on. We take a look at the gauge cluster, and yeah, a couple of things. Let's break it down. On the left side, we have our temperature gauge, which is an analog gauge. And on the right side, we have our fuel gauge, which is an analog gauge as well. And then we have the digital screen in the middle, where we have the tachometer on the top right. Kind of an S2000 feel to it, which is kind of cool. Was kind of excited at that. And then we have like the area where you can change the different information that's going on. Now, a couple of things with this. It's not too exciting, but it does the job. It's very simple, very straightforward. And I know there's better coming because we see it in the Pilot. We see it in the new Pilot. That's still not 100%, but we get something moving towards an improvement. But yeah, we have that. Right now we have the all-wheel drive distribution of the torque, and we have trip computer, which we can see there. This has been what I've been driving, so about 18 and a half. So it is a little bit of a gas guzzler, but you do get a lot in return for those short miles per gallon. And again, we have the all-wheel drive torque, we have phone, navigation, now plane, maintenance, seatbelts. Seatbelt was really nice to have to see and just kind of keep up there, especially if you have a kiddo, make sure that they are buckled in. But pretty much that is what you really get with it. But yeah, pretty much has been in trip computer because I've been wanting to see how good I could be with my miles per gallon, but it's been a little hard because it's kind of a fun vehicle to drive. We get over to the infotainment screen, and I gotta say, it's a little bit on the small side to the proportion of the Passport. So a couple of things with this. The angle, if you take a look at my position, you see the angle is a little bit on the kind of steep side of things. Now, I don't see this glare on my site, but what I do see is if I open up the sunroof opening, you kind of see, there you go, that's kind of what I see there. So just be aware, you're gonna kind of see that there. And that's that the sun's not hitting it. The sun is actually to my right. So yeah, it's kind of a shame that we don't have this. We have this at an angle that we had in the Ridgeline as well. So was one of my complaints. Hopefully that will get fixed in the next generation. The other thing I don't like about this is we don't have wireless Apple CarPlay. We only have wired CarPlay, which we'll take a look at that. But other than that though, the options have been pretty simple, pretty straightforward with that. We come down to the climate control, and very simple, very straightforward, which is what you want in a climate control system. But this one's surprising because with an SUV like this, you get 3 zones. Typically you get 2 with this size of a SUV, really. And this is pretty impressive that we have 3. Same thing we saw in the Ridgeline, which is really nice. So we have our driver, passenger, and then the rear. So just a matter of pressing there, and you can set the rear controls for that. But yeah, very straightforward, very easy, no issues there. It's warming up right now because it's a little bit on the colder side, and no complaints there. Then we come down here and we have the heated seats, which have been nice and toasty. Same there for the passenger. And then we have this opening, which makes no sense. Apparently this was, someone said, for a CD changer. So this has been kind of how we need to get a refresh, but maybe wallet, maybe key, something small, nothing too big right in here. We come down a little bit to this chaos, and yes, it's chaos that was caused by Honda. So I'll explain. I have a phone that has lightning connection, so I got my USB-A to lightning. My wife has a iPhone that has a USB-C connection. So I thought, okay, let me get her the iPhone cable that has USB-C to USB-C, because that's the second port, except that's only for charging. So now I have to have a different cable for her, USB-A to USB-C, for her to use Apple CarPlay, because we don't have wireless Apple CarPlay in this. But then if I want to charge my phone, I have to have the USB-C to lightning cable. So I do have to have three. Granted, we do have the wireless charger, which we can use as well. Let me see if I can turn this on, and we will give it the chuck test, see if that works. Yeah, I kind of missed it. Oh, there we go. I barely touched it and it was on there. So I say it passes the chuck test, but it does not pass the fact that we still have to have a USB cable to go ahead and use Apple CarPlay. So that's kind of the only thing. Yes, I see it being a change, because we did have it in the pilot, which was really, really nice to have in there. And then again, we have an area here for storage, but you are going to need to kind of have it elevated like that so that your cable doesn't get pinched. But that's what we kind of get with that. We come back and we have the gear selector once we clear out all this mess. And yeah, very simple, very straight to the point. I didn't like this at first, but I'm starting to kind of grow on me. So it's not too bad, just a matter of pressing there for park, pushing in for reverse, pushing in there for neutral, and then drive, and then sport there as well. So yeah, that's kind of what we get with that. Just be aware that when you do park, the kind of locking mechanism to park is a little long for it to grab. So yeah, sorry, it took me that long because I don't want it to just kind of bump into the lock. And then we have the selection modes here. So we have normal, snow, mud, and sand on there. And then we have the auto start stop or idle stop to be turned off there. We come over to the cup holders, and no complaints. They have the little grips in case your cup is on the smaller side. It can open up for a pretty big size cup. We do have the separation, which is nice to have right in there on that. But yeah, no complaints with that, and having big cups or small cups as well. We get to the armrest, and the armrest is fairly comfortable, no issues there. My hand, again, I kind of wish sometimes I had a shifter, because I feel like it would perfectly land right in there to kind of rest. So hand is going to kind of dangle a little bit, but the armrest is nice and big and comfortable. You could put things on here. You could, put a laptop if you're working, which is nice to have. And then we open up, and yeah, hey, look, there's the other cable that I needed as well. But yeah, it's a pretty big space. Definitely would pass my tissue box test with no issues. And then we have the area here for any coins if you still need to use coins for tolls. We get to the rear door, and it's nice. It has a couple of things. We do have my favorite, the peasant blocker. So just a matter of doing that, and yeah, you can just block the peasants out. But in all reality, though, it's really nice to have this, especially in a vehicle that is not seen as a super luxury vehicle, which is typically the ones that have that. So nice to have that. And we do have some great finishes, again, more on the rugged side. We get cup holders here, so we get a small cup holder and we get a big cup holder, or medium-sized cup holder, really, which would have been nice to have one of these, like I mentioned in the other Honda review that I had. It would have been nice to have a better one, just one in the front seat or the front doors. We do have a little bit of space here for storage, not too much, very small things there. And we have the speaker down there. We come over to the seating area, and this is really nice. There is a ton of space of leg room here, and if your feet are dirty, not to worry, we do have the rugged mats down there as well for this. But did I mention how much space we have? There is a ton back here, which is nice to see that there. And if you kind of need to get to the back, you can kind of pull this, and there you go. You could go ahead and have that space for anything you may be hauling. No complaints from my kiddo of seats or anything. Seatbelt buckled in really nice. You can see it's I like that this is on the longer side. For parents, it's easy because they're able to simply buckle in and it's not having to have them reach in. So that is a nice plus. And his favorite are the hidden cup holders. They're a little bit on the smaller side, but yeah, I mean, they will still work with that. So you have that. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention as well is you can put these seats down from the rear, and it's pretty nice. You also have two USB-C ports at the bottom for charging, as well as the AC outlet right in there. Okay, so we got in for a drive, and I'm super excited about this Passport. It is such a breeze and so much fun to drive. So let's go. The couple of things I want to mention is the suspension. The suspension ride quality in this is so good. We're gonna hit some pretty bad roads with potholes, but this thing absorbs it. It is a little bit on the softer side, so just be aware you are gonna get a little bit more body roll than you would in a typical CUV, I would say. I don't know if the Passport non-TrailSport feels this way. It's not a bad thing. I loved it. I just was not expecting the off-roadness of the, soft suspension to help you articulate more when you're off-roading. But for everyday driving, it's perfect. It really is. I guess I was just expecting like what I did with the Mazda CX-50. That was just complete sports car suspension, and it was not the best off-roader. But this has been really nice to kind of deal with. And yeah, oh my gosh, I'm like literally aiming for the potholes. That's how good it is. And those tires really help out. They're nice and meaty. They really absorb the road, but still give you enough feedback to the wheel to know what is going on. So it is very impressive of a drive. It's super easy to drive. Now, I posted that I had this in a Facebook group, and a Passport Facebook group, saying this is what I had and what do you guys like, what don't you guys like. Some people were complaining about the V6, others were loving the V6. They said they needed a little bit more pep, which is kind of surprising because this is pretty much the same configuration or the same power range as the Pilot, which is significantly bigger. And honestly, I didn't feel like this needed any more power because you really kind of get on it and it goes. I mean, it goes maybe more than I'd like for it to go. And that was that I had it in eco mode or econ mode, but it's really peppy. The transmission shifts aren't the fastest. Yes, I get that. But highway passing, I didn't have any issues with it. So not sure, guys, but I like this. This is really nice. It's so easy to drive. I'm perfectly comfortable in my seat. Yeah, I would have liked the vented option because yeah, sometimes it can get a little hot. Today it's a little warmer. Today's a little cooler, so it's not too bad. I still don't need the heated seat option, but comfort is there. MPGs is not though, because I am actually at about 19, it says 19.8. With how I was driving kind of today, I would say probably I can do about 20. A lot of that was city though. So a lot of stop and go, and that's where this thing really suffers. That's why hybrid option, I really want that hybrid option because I feel like it could definitely help out with those city MPGs, and it would kill the competition. Because I know that the CR-V going from gas to hybrid is a massive jump for MPGs on the city side of things. So that is a super impressive thing, and I hope they can incorporate a hybrid system. Let's keep it naturally aspirated, still no turbocharger. Supercharger would actually be really nice in this. So yeah, if there was a supercharged kit for this, it would be kind of nice to get this going. But yeah, let's go ahead and hit some of these twisty turns and see how this handles some maybe a little bit more adventurous roads. But brake pedal, really nice. At first you have to kind of make sure you pump it a little bit, just a small tidbit though, nothing too big though, to just kind of say, hey, wake up a little bit. But once you get that pedal feel, it really goes. It like it has no issues with getting this guy stopped. And again, it doesn't feel like a big heavy SUV, but it does kind of sway the body a little bit. So just be aware of that. Not as much as other vehicles that I've had though. So that is the impressive thing. And yeah, the handling and the power distribution is my favorite in this. It's insane how much grip that iVTM 4 system does. That all-wheel drive system is just incredible. Yeah, man, if they can somehow adapt a version of this in a high-powered Civic Type R, oh boy, Golf R, yeah, you guys would have nothing on a Civic with this kind of technology in that. Hear me out, Honda. I'm saying it first, and all you YouTubers, everyone watching, a Honda Civic with this kind of integration of all-wheel drive would be a track killer. Yeah, Corolla GR or GR Corolla, yeah, you're gonna wanna be careful because that Civic with this system would be insane. But it's just incredible how it can put the power down. Now let's go ahead and get the 3-point stop. Hopefully it doesn't have to be a 4-point. We'll drop a wheel on there and turn. And unfortunately, like I said, we don't have a big camera system, 360. We only get the rear camera, which is kind of a shame because I really like the trail cam that they called in the Pilot. So hopefully it'll trickle down though to this model, and hopefully maybe a refresh. So foot on the brake, load it up a little bit, and okay, no, we got to do that again because that was pretty impressive. That kind of caught me off guard. And we're going to go ahead and put it in sport mode too. Make sure we are in first gear, and okay, that was pretty impressive. Once it kind of recognized that you let go of the brake, because obviously safety systems don't like you having the foot on the brake and on the gas. No, it doesn't take a screenshot, but like you've seen different memes, but it was pretty impressive. So what I want to do is I want to have my foot on the brake. Okay, there we go. My foot on the brake, and I'm just gonna let off of it and then smash the gas and see if that responds a little bit better. Oh yeah, definitely. There was a small delay because it thought, like I said, both pedals were down for safety issues, but that was pretty impressive. It almost spun the wheels, yeah, which is pretty good to have. Like I said, I'm surprised at why people were complaining that it wasn't enough power, but I think it's plenty of power. And surprisingly, this thing is behaving like a sports car. But if you don't want it to, you could just easily calm down and just drive it like an everyday civilized SUV. But why would you want to do that when this thing is just begging you to have fun? So you just kind of chuck it on a corner, you give it some gas, and it distributes the power so good. This thing is incredible. I'm so surprised by how good this is. Of course, with me having the TrailSport, I have to have a little bit more fun than just driving it on paved roads. Let's go have some fun on some unpaved roads. So I have it in sport mode for the transmission, and the drive mode, I will put it in sand because, as far as what options I have snow, mud, and sand, and normal. But we'll start with sand just because it is very light gravel, so I figured kind of fine. That I guess would make the most sense. So it does take off traction control on it. So let's see how good it is at putting the power down with that all-wheel drive system. The other thing I want to do is switch over to the all-wheel drive torque so I can see what it's actually doing. So I'll go ahead and let's just launch it without the brake. Okay, yeah, that's impressive. So like I said, we do have some really loose gravel on this road, and it just wants to go, and I feel confident with making it go. I backed off a little bit because it wants to go way more than I think I should. But yeah, no issues with the power distribution. It's just putting the power down, and even with the traction control off, because of the drive mode, no issues with that. Let me go ahead and try the brakes out a little bit on this kind of softer road, and I mean, very, very straight. It's pretty impressive at how I can get this big guy stopped, and let's get going as well. So it is doing just such a great job of being stable. Yeah, I'm not having any concerns of stability like I have in other vehicles, which have been really scary for more like off-road, or more like, oh, it's good for you know, unpaved roads like this, or just Baja kind of stuff. But it's just so good at getting the power down. It's incredible. This reminds me of the Ridgeline, and yeah, this, I cannot speak enough of how good this all-wheel drive system is. And yeah, nice. It's just so good at getting that power down. And yeah, yeah, it definitely feels like an old school all-wheel drive system where it's just very mechanical, very just throw the power down to get you out of situations, instead of panicking and just, you know, with these more modern systems where it's just panicking and just breaking the wheels in, you know, actual brake pedal situation, not brake like destroy, to basically get the car turning, get this SUV turning. So that's the really impressive and great feel to this all-wheel drive system. Yeah, and you can make it kick out if you want to, if you put enough steering input. That's why I said it's really great at getting this system down. It's super impressive. So I am really loving the way that this thing handles. It's just so damn good. Yeah, I'm glad I have these roads to just have a blast in and show you guys how capable these vehicles are from Honda, this all-wheel drive system. So that's why I said, man, if we can get this in like this off-road side of things, what can we do on the on-road and racing side of things for things like a Honda Civic Type R? Maybe you can come out with an Accord Type R with an all-wheel drive system and turbocharged, you know, high-powered turbocharged engine. Yeah, it's impressive. It's a lot of fun too. Yeah, let's just say you're gonna want to go out on adventures with your family. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the 2024 Honda Passport TrailSport. And remember, find the right gear. See ya.